What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I wanted to go over this topic really fast because while we're on the basis of all of these new games coming out, like Anata, Neverness to Everness, Do It, Knights Abyss, Arcs Infield, the new Seven Deadly Sins game, the list goes on. We have other games that are already currently out, like Fortnite, we have Roblox, we have Honkai Star Rail, we have, some people have their League of Legends or their MOBAs, their new MOBAs like Dragon Ball Kikeshin Squadra. There's so many live services going on right now, and it's like it's kind of oversaturating the gamers market, in which it's hard for a gamer to even enjoy a game really, because there's so many other games that are creating this hostile environment due to how the games are being made. Now, strictly, I feel like if games were always made to support an offline client after their live service, that would fix all of these issues, or if they just made it in offline mode as well. But these honestly would, this guy Bellylar News, this guy kind of made a video that perfectly explains it. So yeah, I wanted to go over this video with you guys so you guys can also tune in onto why this is big. This also ties in to the Stop Killing Games movement and how it can impact what this guy's talking about.
Can't quite put your finger on why. Sometimes things feel different, but you can't quite put your finger on why. Well, today you're going to find out why, because gaming has changed. We've got new data that suggests 93% of kids
prefer playing on mobile. Now I'm telling you, I was just naming some of the console games. Mobile, we have so many, like there's Pokemon TGS, there's Kaiju number 8, there's Seven Deadly Sin, we have Dokkan, we have Dragon Ball Legends, we have Jujutsu Kaisen, Epic 7, Punishy Raven, we have Aether Gazer. It just goes crazy, and you have it to where these games are like that because the quality that they are looking like are almost on par with some console games. Like the cinematics that Seven Deadly Sins had for me was honestly better than the show, and the game features was just so well for the playstyle. It was just like, it was a good game, and this was on a phone, so that's why I'm like, you have this competition already.
So phones. So I remember your boy Wyatt Cheng. Don't you guys have phones?
I remember that's when he made League of Legends for the mobile.
A little bit prescient. But here's another aspect to it. It's how these kids engage with games. Here's a quote. They no longer identify as gamers. They identify as players of a specific game. So it's not that games are a medium that they like, it's that they play Roblox or they play Fortnite. So directionally, based on the real trends that we're seeing, the future of gaming looks like it's people who are fans of one game that probably play it on a phone, which is a bit weird. I don't like it, and it raises a big question. What does it mean for people who prefer what I'll just call traditional gaming experiences? Maybe people like you and me.
Now the problem, the problem is they are live service. Live service are causing players because there's FOMO events. There's events that require a timeline, like a due date, or there's an end time for it. There's a lot of incentives for all of these, and every live service game does it. Now, if you compare this to how gaming used to be, think about it. Think about you being like born in, or a gamer in 2007, and I just gave you a PS2 and I just gave you 40 games, right? You're gonna have them physically as disc. Now, for your experience to complete those 40 games, you would have a more smooth experience and less stress, because all of those games don't require immediate attention. So if you had a person today and I gave them 20 of the games I just stated earlier that are live service, bro, it's not possible to even enjoy probably the full aspect of one of those games if you have that, because the storyline would be supported for a long time, you know, with additional updates and more content. So your I don't want to say in game just gets longer and longer, and then you have that pull from other games that you would have to switch. So So you don't fully invest your time on one of these games. Now, the way that they combat this is that they create events that brings people back, or they create incentives that are on time. And the big one is that they create other mechanisms in the game. They expand it, they adapt it. So they start adding features that you can start seeing. And basically the skeleton for all of this is Roblox. How Roblox was it's like a hub for a bunch of different games. Fortnite is following in the same footsteps, where it used to just be one specific mode, but now it's just a platform that supports many different modes. So how are you going to fully try out other games if these one games are making it to where you can do whatever you want on another game in their same game, which causes players to just be stuck on one?
Okay, so in our last video, we looked at gaming's past and compared it to now. And we talked about the 1983 game crash that leveled the American games industry. It set so many standards for where we are now, but there was a side effect that we didn't talk about, and it's one that's key to gaming's future. You see, when games resurged in America post-1980s game crash, they were sold as toys for children, and that decided the marketing for like the next 40 years. The medium literally grew up alongside its audience. You had Rob the Robot marketed to young
Smash
boys.
Brothers.
Then came G4, Tony Hawk, Call of Duty for the cool teenagers. I was a cool teenager, totally. No, I wasn't. Now, of course, what do we have? Well,
if you never played Tony Hawk Pro Skater and played it with, you know, someone locally, and just you guys switched to where you start hitting each other with the skateboards, bro, you missed out on a core childhood memory right there.
Got cinematic sad dad games like The Last of Us.
That is true. Last of Us, bro. If you never, that's what I'm saying, these games are going to keep players from even experiencing games like this, because they make them live service where they feel like they have to contribute to their current progress on that game. If they basically created offline support, I'm telling you, this division would be able to be healed. Like, people would be able to invest time into other games like this.
Yeah, it's grown up with us. I'd absolutely say gaming has always been for everyone. Anyone can pick up a game. A Nintendo game is an example. But the culture and the marketing, not so much. It has been targeted. And I want you to think about Battlefield 6 and how it just got revealed. Because they unironically played Limp Bizkit. Yeah, Limp Bizkit. So, you know, go take your medicine if you've remembered this track. And it does kind of show us something. The culture and marketing around the game industry hasn't changed with technology. They haven't changed with demographics. The kids of 2025, they will not be impressed.
Do you know that's true? They have not changed with demographics. And I think I talked about this in a previous video with Nintendo, how they don't realize that all of the kids that they catered to back then that helped them grow so successful are now, which would be their technically their biggest fans. They're older now, yet they are still catering to the same demographic. They're not adapting. They're not thinking about, oh shit, our greatest fans are now older. Like, that's why Power World took over, you know, because they had aspects in that game. They had features that catered to older audience.
Should I say, to their brain chemistry and systems are just as engaging. Personally, I think there's something to be said for the depth of an experience, but basically, that's what they think games can and should be. And now we've got data, we've got stats to back it up. And, well, take your Vicodin, because this is kind of going to hurt. IGN states,
no.
Essentially, Gen X and millennials think of gaming in terms of platform loyalty. That's, you know, the 70s through to the 90s generations. So basically, most of the people watching this video, at least per the demographics I see on YouTube.
So it's because of the incentives, I'm telling you. These online incentives. Platform loyalty. So if you are always on the game, you know, you're getting a lot of the rewards, you're not missing nothing, you know, so that would show you that you are a gamer for their game. So their perspectives are changing to revolve around that, instead of like a gamer that can just complete a lot of other games. I think that, like, to me, that's what a gamer is, a gamer that plays a lot of games. And then you can't call yourself a gamer but you only play, well, I guess you can, but it's like that's now generally the consensus for the newer generation, or at least the mindset of these developers.
We're no strangers to tribalism in gaming. That's why we, have a console war or a PC master race. But distinctions between platforms are, of course, completely breaking down. We see that. I mean, the need for a platform is kind of disappearing. We see that in cross-platform games. Here's some stats to make that make sense. 93% of under 13s prefer playing games on their phone. So that's the 2000s to 2010s generation. The cooked generation. Only 15% prefer a core PC, which of course is very sad. And by PC, it's probably a laptop. Even 32% of millennials now prefer playing on phones. I have to wonder if it's because, well, the torment nexus that is called the world has cooked all of our brains to the point where that's really all that we can latch on to. Convenience. But for those numbers in the 80s and the 90s, well, that's what those people have grown up with. Now, this graph from Matthew Ball's State of Gaming report does help to explain everything as well. Let's look at Roblox as a case study, which of course does mean content warning, get ready for some real goddamn sheer horror. Roblox has existed since 2007. That was the first full year of the Xbox 360, PS3, and the Wii, but it didn't take off properly until 2016. It didn't really
that game is
explode
older
until
than
an
Warframe.
audience
What the hell?
fluid in tablets began playing, and then the pandemic kind of changed everything. Mobile play massively increased, but here's the key difference. Unlike the rest of the industry post-pandemic, Roblox kept growing. Yeah, so the way we talk about the games crash and all that stuff? Well, maybe that happened in some places. But Roblox, it's the one place where those trends actually held. And it's outperforming everything. This one's crazy.
It's beating Fortnite
has the
right
highest
now.
concurrent user base ever of a game, with 21.3 million players.
Damn.
It was made by a 16-year-old in 3 days.
Damn.
So, compare your multi-hundred staff AAA studio to...
We're not gonna look at what Sparking Zero is at right now for Steam.
16-year-old in 3 days, and feel sad. And that might sound alarming. It is alarming. Is this where gaming's going? I mean, we're already seeing Sega and Starbreeze licensing official games in Roblox. Like a Dragon, Payday, those are in Roblox. You could think the industry will coalesce into platform-agnostic mega games, that kids will grow up with them as basically second homes, and that those will wipe out everything else. And
I'm telling you, that's why Warframe is such a hard game to switch off, and Burnout exists because they have everything that you can ask for in the game. They would have all the aspects, even Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. They're going to start adding like features where you can customize your own place. It's like there's racing. They'll try to take an aspect to every forms of gaming in their one game to keep players. Fortnite is just the greatest example of it, because now they're going crazy with their creative mode.
The fear, and I know why the fear-mongering can work, and there are some things to be afraid of, but the thing is, that's already how the games industry works. And I'd say we're already feeling some of the downsides. So what if I told you that Call of Duty and Counter-Strike are basically just Roblox, but for boomers? I don't know why.
Yep, because that's why I said I'm no longer getting a game from Activision, due to their new gaming model for how it used to be to now it's just all online.
Saying Call of Duty and boomers, let's say Counter-Strike. Yeah, CS is boomer Roblox. Now, it literally isn't in many ways, but what it is.
Introducing the new 2-in-1 ED plus testosterone treatment through HIMS. This daily dual action pill
is a mono game, because for many of those people, that may as well be the only game that they play. On our other channel, I covered a lot of World of Warcraft because it unfortunately got its claws into me when I was young, and now I can't escape. And to many people, World of Warcraft is basically the only game they need, the only thing they... And every month, what do we see? We see the same 10 games report the highest.
Wait, look, this is the top 15 games ranked by active users. So it's like you see games that are online only. So now all of these live service games are where people are crazing over how many active players are in it. Like, you have people taking take over a game and saying it's trash because how many active players are on the game. How does that make sense? Like if the let's say Last of Us, right? Last of Us is on Steam. Steam requires an online connection. Therefore, it's an online game on PC. So even though the game is an offline game for other people who own it physically, players who own the game on Steam, say Steam shuts down, how do they even consider themselves owning that digital product? That's what buying a game should be, where you own something indefinitely. And that's where Stop Killing Games initiative comes into this guy's argument, that you have all of these games that are, when they're off the game, that doesn't mean that the game is bad. That's where I'm trying to get to. Like, so if you have Sparking Zero that plays way better offline, and more players just play locally or in their own separate groups, but that's how people are treating games now. They're treating the success and the popularity of a game based on how many active players are on it. So games are now pushed to be live service, to have these features to keep their players on, keep their players active, battle passes, little, short events, free items, all of that stuff is tied to this. So you have Call of Duty, Fortnite is number 2, Roblox, all 3 live service games, by the way. Grand Theft Auto 5 is also a good, it made it to top 4. Like a Grand Theft Auto game would be peak RPG offline mode. That's the peak RPG realistic game you can ever get, without any fantasy or magic. But it's good to see it make at least top 5. Grand Theft Auto 6 might be like, it might take over these players, I'm not gonna lie. It might be number 1. But Minecraft, also good example of an offline only game, or not only, but offline game, but they create multiple modes to where people might not want to play other games because they have so much different play styles. 2K25 is crazy. Rainbow Six Siege would make sense. Marvel Rivals, Ready or Not, Rocket League. Like, it's like these games that you're basically saying Rocket League is way better than Expedition 33. Ready or Not is way better than Wukong. Marvel Rivals, you're saying that's way better than all the Spider-Man games. And I bet you when Blade come out, Blade might not make it on this list. You see what I'm saying? Rainbow Six Siege is, you're saying that's better than Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, the newer Call of Duties, Minecraft. You're saying Minecraft is better than Sparking Zero? You're basically saying Minecraft is better than Naruto. It's a better game than any fighting game that's out there. Like I don't see no fighting games on there. I mean, hand to hand, 1v1 games. Roblox is top 3.
Why? Well, it's because only so many people are willing to play those new games. Because much like the kid who only plays Roblox, or maybe the teen who only plays Fortnite, for a lot of people, they only play COD, they only play EA, they only play CS. And Newzoo's 2025 report shows something that's also interesting. The number of people playing just 1 to 3 games per year has actually increased consistently.
I just want to test this. For those who are watching this video, can you type down your top 3 games that you play? And I want to see if there's a similarity that we can see.
What could go wrong? Now, this demographic change opens audiences up to new sorts of experiences. These kids find new modes daily. They play new games daily within their Roblox. Maybe to them, they have an incredibly diverse gaming library and are playing new things absolutely all of the time, in a way that you or I maybe don't, because firing up a new indie game, learning a bunch of new systems and all of that legit just takes brain effort. I mean,
I'm not gonna lie, yes. If you were to learn a new game, there's always the tutorial, there's always a new tech and new meta that you gotta learn for your specific game, and some people are probably just not wanting to take that brain power. It requires less brain work to learn a new game compared to a game that you already play with a new mode.
Simple example, it's no wonder that systemic experience-driven games like Peak or Lethal Company take off, and then get microtransaction-filled clones in Roblox to get that parrot money. But certain games simply don't matter to this changing audience. because so far in this video, we've not talked about linear single-player narrative games, which so far do seem to be limited to sad dad games. They just aren't in the equation here, even though I'd wager those are the games that most people watching this channel care about quite a bit indeed. That might be a shocking thing. The Bear, The Traders, Hacks, and all of those were outperformed by Squid Game and Netflix, which itself was outperformed by TikTok and social media. But it doesn't mean those experiences are being
in terms of audience engagement is what he's talking about.
And I think that's where we're getting to in games. When great games release, they aren't trying to appeal to everyone. They are absolutely maxing what they should be as a game.
Yeah, he's talking. So he's specifically saying that certain games that catered to the old playstyle of gaming, how, you know, if you miss that offline only Dark Souls experience, you know, Elden Ring was born. And that's why Elden Ring was so good, because it didn't require an online connection. It didn't require patches, and I mean, they of course updated the game as time went on, but it was still playable and it had all the content in the game at day one. Like, if Pokemon made a game that was like Power World, but it was by Nintendo, they would have hit that same experience that Expedition 33 did, Elden Ring did, the initial release of Sparking Zero, or what's another crazy game?
And thinking of critical and public consensus, Expedition 33 is incredible. It is a top runner for Game of the Year. But if you look at top selling games,
these are all good too.
Is that execution matters and that focus matters. Expedition 33 is everything you would want with nothing that you would not want for a game like that. It is not a bloated, shambling mess, saddled by having to find meaningful work for a production crew of 300 people. And funnily enough, that might mean that it's well executed and that there is strong focus. I think that that is going to be the way forward for the sorts of games that many of us would be afraid we're going to stop seeing.
They basically, the point is that because of these online only games being adaptive and probably just incorporating a lot of different play styles, the gamers considered in today's time is considered a person that is in dedicated to that one specific game. You know, how long you play. If you see a game and a person and they ask you about a game and they ask you what's your play time on it, if it's low, they might think you're not a gamer, you know. So that's just, the whole conception has changed and is in the wrong way, as well as how game companies are handling games. You know, Expedition 33, it does not require online only. It does not have battle passes. It doesn't have any of that. It was a story that delivered and catered to that demographic of people, and it did it well. It did its job, and that's the point. Just like how all of these other games, how games should be different moments and play styles specifically to that game, and the person should be able to access that game at any time that they choose, so they are not felt and attacked by FOMO, or felt by missing events, or felt left behind because of the push and the current state of what the live service game is. So that's my main topic and focus for this video, just letting you guys know. Hopefully, I hope the Stop Killing Games movement does apply and affect current live service games that we do play, so that you guys can enjoy those experiences, those journeys, and future gamers can also experience the same thing as you have, as when they get to that, because the game still exists. So this ties into when games are destroyed and people do lose out on those experiences, which why that could be a reason why players stick to one game, because they don't want to, you know, how I said with the FOMO. But I'm curious on your guys' thoughts on this. Let me know down below. If you guys are also new, be sure to subscribe. But like always, you guys be safe, keep up the grind, and I'll see you guys next time.